Welcome to the Free Game Don D podcast. Life, family, and business. Listen, man, today's topic is losing it all. And this was something that we were talking about because we feel like no one prepares you for success, right? Most of us grew up in environments where we got a lot of practice at failure, right? We knew how to fail, maybe even overcome, but we never knew what it was like to sustain success, right? And I think sometimes sometimes you don't even think this stuff is possible, right? So when the impossible becomes possible, you don't even know how to handle it, right? So I'm gonna give you some statistics here. So 78% of NFL players start experiencing financial troubles after 2 years post their NFL career, right? And 60% of NBA players go broke within 5 years of retirement, right? And it seems to be a trend. I mean, yeah, we're talking about athletes, and I think sometimes, even parents, like they have their kids playing sports, and the whole goal is, man, I want you to go D1. I want you to go to the NBA. And, and it's this whole thing about, like, we want you to be successful. We want you to have all this success financially, but not knowing really, like, how to even handle that success when it does come about. And I think even just like regular people, I mean, like, sometimes you may just get a huge promotion on a job, right? But you're not used to making maybe it's a 6-figure promotion, right? Maybe you go from making 75,000 to 100,000, right? That's a significant increase, right? But you don't know how to handle that level of success, man. So that's something we wanted to talk about because we just feel like for a lot of us, nothing prepares us for certain levels of success. And that's why we sometimes fumble the bag because, first of all, like I said before, we didn't think it was possible. Then when it does happen to us, we don't know how to deal with it, right? So, I mean, what do you think about that, Mykel?
No, I think that's all facts because no one can say that they have never fumbled the bag. Okay, no matter what level economically you're in, everyone has fumbled the bag at some point in time. We can even say that some have seen others fumble the bag and think that they too good that they not gonna fumble the bag too. Sometimes we don't learn from other people's mistakes, right? So yeah, when it comes to success, there is no rule book. You cannot go to the bookstore and go into a section on success and get a real book that gives you a step-by-step in the path to success to give you any type of warnings or anything like that. It's actually something that you learn. Now, if you are blessed enough to have someone in the family or know someone that is in the field that you are trying to obtain, whether it's, athletics or whether, whatever it is, where you can kind of see their path and see the mistakes that they made, that's one way that you can learn from it, right? It doesn't mean that you're not going to turn around and do the same thing when you get in their position, but at least you're forewarned. It's kind of like your parents telling you about certain things, like, a hard head make a soft behind. You're going to learn one way or another, right? And so you may feel like, well, that person's failure, that'll never be my failure because I saw them fumble the bag. I'm not going to fumble the bag as well. And you turn around and do the same exact thing because you've never been in that position, right? But at least you're able to recover better because someone showed you the blueprint or you saw somebody make that same mistake. So you're able to recover because you kind of knew it was coming. You just hoped it wasn't going to happen to you. Right.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I know that's me. I
love that, man, because I think that you're talking about like watching other people fumble the bag. I think that, I think that's one of the things that, we try to get ahead of certain things with some people, like give them some advice because we see them fumbling.
We see it coming.
We see it coming, right? And so we just try to forewarn them, give them books to read and kind of give them some advice because we understand they're probably new to this level of income. And so we're like, hey, listen, man, you're successful. You may be a super sales, agent. You're doing extremely well. But it's clear just based on, the way you're moving that you're not accustomed to moving in this space. So we recommend books to read, certain investments, just things to protect their money, because we want to see them win long term and sustain success. So it's really tough when you're watching someone that is trajecting downward. They don't even know it, right? But you see them like, okay, this person they're a phenomenal salesperson, but the way they're moving, this is to their detriment. It's just not, and I've even been around people who've had businesses in the past, and I've talked to them. I said, hey, you might want to, do this and do that, because there was someone that I had a good relationship with, close to, maybe even family members. And I said, hey, listen, man, you might want to do this and do that. Invest back into your business, not be as spendthrifty. Practice delayed gratification. Yes. And I think that's the hardest thing when people start to experiencing success, is that they're unable to practice delayed gratification, right? They're unable to pour back into the business and focus on the growth of the business versus showing everybody, hey, I made it. Most folks, when they start making any level of money, the first thing is, the cars and all this other stuff. Hey, I made it. The designer things. Hey, I made it. I'm successful. They start doing these things, and because nothing prepares them for the level of success that they're having, they're so used to failing, right? So if they lose it all tomorrow, they're okay with that, because a lot of people are accustomed to losing. And when you're accustomed to losing, you tend to do things that losers do. So when someone comes to you about winning behavior, that requires you to have discipline and to change your whole mentality. Because you're thinking, well, listen, I'm making X amount of hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. I don't understand why I have to change my behavior, right? But they do. They don't understand that sustainability, getting to the top or having success is not the pinnacle. The pinnacle is maintaining. The pinnacle is growing it. The pinnacle is, just abundance beyond that, right? Yeah. And security beyond that, security for your children, past you. But some folks, they end up losing it all because they've never seen anything that prepares them for success.
Exactly. And I find it very interesting, like with the statistics that you just gave in regards to the NFL players, 78% after 2 years. I mean, I'm not the biggest football fan, but I've heard the numbers when people get drafted and, these contracts, even the NBA not even after 5 years, within 5 years. That means you are actively playing, making this money, and you are just throwing it all away. Yeah. How are you broke? You get what? Okay, what was Bronny's thing? Do you know how much?
I think Bronny got like $8 million.
Okay, $8 million. All right. To some people, that doesn't sound like a lot. I mean, shoot, $8 million for someone of his age, right? Now, thank God he's got his father. Right? So his father can give him the direction. But let's take it back. Let's take it back to when LeBron came into the NBA.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Let's just put it that LeBron probably fumbled the bag several times, okay, before he got on track to being the LeBron that he is now with his money. And thank God he is going to pass that down to his children. So Bronny's not going to have any issues, right? Or at least he shouldn't.
But let me
he might be a hard
Let me say this
too.
about LeBron, though, man. Shout out to LeBron, because LeBron always had good people around him, man. And I think that's the key when you start attaining levels of success. Get good people around you and listen to them, because some of y'all got good people around you and you're not listening.
Oh yeah, you're not listening because you think you know it all.
You think you know everything,
or you think this money's going to keep on coming. So it doesn't matter what you're saying. I'll just get it back.
Oh, I'll just get it back
until you don't. Then what? You sitting up here with your lip poked out, talking about life ain't fair.
Right.
Well, you better get to bouncing that ball. Okay.
Better get to
better get to doing some tricks. I heard Globetrotters is hiring.
But no, I ain't messing with you, man. But no, man. I think that's important. Like LeBron kept good people around him and people with good sound mind. and he didn't put himself in situations that were detrimental to his success.
Yeah.
And I think that people can, can pull from that. I know we live in a society where we somewhat idolize, entertainers and things like that. I mean, I don't recommend that, but some people, that's what they do.
Some do.
So if you want to idolize something, idolize the fact that this man makes good business decisions. And a lot of us, like I say, we start attaining some level of success. We may have some people around us, and we just don't listen.
Yeah.
Some of us just don't listen. We think that, I'm this super salesperson. I'm this, I'm that. This is going to continue to flow because of who I think I am. But it doesn't work out like that. It just doesn't, man. And so people end up losing it all. So I just think learning how to handle success is just as important as learning how to handle failure.
Yes.
It may even be more important, because, if you can learn how to handle success, you don't just set yourself up well, you set your family up well, right? That could lead to success for generations to come if you do right by your success, right? So I think that it's more riding on that on your success, right? So you need to know how to move, how to handle yourself, how to handle success. I think it's just a lot riding on that. So that's why I'm always talking about books and things of this nature, because even us, like, you start having certain levels of success, you're gonna have to educate yourself on how to move.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? There's no handbook to this stuff. Like, well, actually there is. You just have to read, right? But like, you may never have seen some of these things, right? Like, I was blessed. Like, my mom, shout out to my mom. She was the first business owner that I've ever known, right? And so there's a lot of things that my mom did in business that set me up for success. And then I was able to 10X that stuff and say, okay, well, I'm going to add to this and add to this and add to that. But at least I had a foundation of something to go back and look at as to how to manage financially, right? How to manage money, like how to move as it pertains to bad debt, right? Mom didn't have a lot of bad debt. Right. So she invested in property. She invested in her business. So I saw that. Right. And I think that definitely played a role. You have to see some of this stuff or have people around you that are willing to tell you. Successful people will tell you, but you're going to have to act. So not running around and just giving out stuff. You're going to have to, because they don't have time to waste. Right. So you're going to have to ask them like, hey, how do I maintain my level of success? How do I 10X what I'm doing? You're going to have to ask questions. You're going to have to ask people, and they will give you answers. If you didn't see this kind of stuff growing up, or have a family member or a close friend that was just pouring all this into you, you're going to have to ask other successful people. And listen, just don't think you know it all. Know-it-all people fail. And know-it-all people fail without fail, meaning that you're going to fail.
Yeah.
If you're not listening to other people around you that are successful because you think that you know what you're doing when it's evident that you don't, to everyone
that part.
except
that
for you.
Part.
Listen, man. So losing it all is an inside job. Yeah. And that's the thing about losing it all. People that lose it all blame everyone else, but it started with them. It's them. They're losing it all. It's them. Right. And they had all this help along the way. I guarantee if you interviewed all these NFL players that went broke and NBA players that went broke and other successful people in business went broke, they'll tell you, you know what, I shouldn't have done that. Yeah. I should have listened to this person. I should have did this. I should have invested money over here. I should have did this, but I didn't. Right. I was looking for instant gratification. Yeah. Right. I was in a place that I wasn't accustomed to being, and I didn't even think that I could even achieve these things. So when I achieved them, I lost my mind, man, because I couldn't believe this was happening to me. And I think some of us don't even believe we deserve what we're getting.
Yeah.
And you really fumble the bag when you think you don't deserve it, right? When you think that, man, I'm having all this success in business. I'm having all this success as an athlete or whatever it is that I'm doing. And I don't deserve this because of where I came from, right? So we fumble that bag even faster, right? Because we don't feel like we deserve it. And I see that sometimes too, even in what we do. I mean, I see brokers doing things and they just don't feel deserving of some of their success. And they are, but they don't feel like they are.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you were saying about people who are successful, and you said you've got to ask them. They're not going to just say, "Hey, who wants some advice from a successful person?" You are going to have to seek it out. But what I would say, and I want anyone listen to me clearly. If you are speaking to someone that you feel is successful, and you're asking them key questions on how they got or how they built their success, and they don't tell you any of their failures, just go ahead and erase what they told you and walk away.
Yeah.
Okay? Because the only way to success is to have failures and learn lessons on overcoming those failures to then get to success. So if they're only telling you good stuff, they're hiding something.
Preaching.
Okay? You come to Donald or myself and ask us anything, child. I'm gonna tell you about how I bought when I felt we was really successful, how I went out and I got a $3,000 Louis Vuitton bag, honey. And I thought it was gonna make me a superhero. I thought everybody would realize I'm successful because I had this Louis Vuitton bag. No, I was just another black woman with a purse. Okay? My feelings was hurt. But I thought that labels defined success. Oh, I'm successful, so therefore I have to have this. I have to have red bottom shoes. I have to have all these things to be seen as successful. But what I came to realize is, you know what, rich, like Donald says, rich is loud, wealthy is quiet. And baby, I enjoy being quiet.
No. No, I like that, man.
Yes.
I always say something about labels, man. I don't wear a label. I only wear labels that pay me.
Okay.
Family financial consultants. Labels that I'm partnered with, Wealth Alliance Group.
Wealth Alliance, yes.
Any of our broker partners with agencies. Hey, those are the labels that I'm going to be wearing.
Yes.
Labels that pay me. If the label isn't paying me, it's not worth me putting it on. Right. It's all about that, man, for us, man. And shout out to you, Mykel. I remember when we got that Louis Vuitton bag, I was like, okay, that's what's up. And I remember, I guess after a while, you was like, it's just a bag. And you had it laying around one day, and I was like, why is this bag just laying around in the floor? You was like, it's just a bag.
Yep.
And I was like,
I never forget that day. I never forget that day. Because, in all honesty, we were having a great day. We were on vacation with our family, And if I may speak for you, I even feel like you felt some empowerment or pride in the fact that, my wife can get the bag that she wants. Yeah. My wife can get these shoes that she wants, that kill my feet, okay? But anyway, I just had to have them because it was name brand and it was, that was just in my mind. This is what I'm supposed to have. And I came to the realization very quickly that that these things don't define me. Right. I define them. If I'm walking around, and I still use my Louis Vuitton bag. I still use it. But it's a bag. It's a tote.
You literally use it
okay.
as a tote.
Yes, it's a work bag.
That's wild.
Because I realized that I make this bag look good. Ooh, this bag don't make me look good.
Come on, man.
Them shoes that hurt my feet, when I put them on, I make them shoes look good. Ooh. They don't make me look good, so they don't define me. I define them. Ooh. I take the power, and that's what people have to do. They have to take the power. We're not saying, if you buy designer stuff, you're whack. I'm not saying that. If you like it, buy it. That's you. But don't buy it because you think all of a sudden it's going to put a spotlight and a beacon on you like you're somebody. When people see you, they see you as who you are. Okay, like I said, when I had that bag on, I was another black woman with a bag. That's it. That's all it was. It wasn't successful Mykel Doe, co-owner of Family Financial Consultants. It didn't give me a title. I was a black woman with a bag. Okay? So once I realized that, that's when I realized, you know what? These things don't define me. I define them.
Yeah. And shout out to you, man, because I think that we're talking about this mainly because these are the things that lead to some folks losing it all. Like, some of their spending and things of this nature. And then they get to this point to where it's like before they know it, money goes fast.
very quickly. And the more you have, the faster it goes.
Shout out to I can't believe I'm about to reference Puffy, but P. Diddy here. P. Diddy said, "More money, more problems," and that was don't do that. And so I'm assuming that even probably a young man like Diddy, when he was young like that, making that kind of money, probably didn't quite even know how to handle money himself, right? So that's why he probably came up with more money, more problems, because it can be problematic if you don't know how to move.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And then you end up losing everything. So I think that's kind of one of the reasons why we're talking about some of these materialistic things. There's certainly nothing wrong with having nice things, but you better allocate for these things.
That's right.
You're running a business, you got to separate these things, right? Make sure that you're paying yourself a salary. Whatever you can afford on your salary, you can afford on your salary. But a lot of times we're mixing funds, right? Yeah. Our funds are commingling. So our funds are what did Will Smith's wife, what did she say? What was that term? When Will Smith had that engagement and entanglement.
Oh, entanglement.
Our business dollars and our personal dollars are
entangled.
Are entangled, right? And so we're out here doing these things without realizing how much money we truly have to do, to do these things. And then we start going into the business dollars, and next thing you know, we're broke. It happens really quick, man. So losing it all happens very quick. And most of the time it's because of our personal spending, right? Yes. It's not the business side, it's the personal side. And so, but I think that a lot of this still comes from the fact that a lot of us, we're just not accustomed to having certain things. No one's told us how to handle certain things. No one has told us what wealth looks like. No one has told us that wealth is quiet.
Yeah.
When I'm talking to people, I'm saying, hey, man, I'm going to put you guys on some game now. SRP, if you're down here in the South Carolina and Georgia area, SRP has a 7-day CD. When we got it, it was 5%. Every 7 days, right? 5% CD. I mean, it's 4% now. But that's the kind of stuff that you want people around you telling you about. Not what kind of car they have and all this other fancy stuff. There's nothing wrong with this stuff, but I'm just saying. Stuff like that, like you start thinking about stuff differently, man. Okay, hold up, Don. I can get a 7-day CD, and no other bank offers that kind of stuff, right? 7-day CD paying you 4%. When we got it, it was 5%, but of course now the rates are a little bit lower. But either way, every 7 days, boom, we're like, okay, wow, that's working out great. Yeah. Guys, so that's the kind of stuff you want to be privy to. That's the kind of information you want to be privy to. And of course, other investments, but that's the one that kind of stuck out to me because I've never heard of a 7-day CD.
Yeah.
Right. So it was like, and none of my business partners, they can't get it. Like,
if they're not in the
right. Yeah. They've never even heard of that. Right. And this is SRP Federal Credit Union. And I was just like, it was so crazy. But I'm just saying that, a lot of folks are just not, they don't know how to move. They don't know how to move, and they don't have people around them that know how to move. Sometimes you're the only one in your group or your environment that is successful. That's why they always tell you don't want to be the smartest person in the room that you're in. Because if you're the smartest person, then you're going to be out there making decisions, and you're not going to get checked. Yep. You're not going to have anyone say, hey, such and such, you might want to look into this. You might want to look into that. Now sometimes you may not be the smartest person, but you think you are. Now that's a whole other problem for people who don't like to listen or people who just think that they're smarter than what they are. That's something totally different, but but you do not want to be the smartest person in the room because you want someone to check you. You want someone to assist you and give you good advice.
Yes, most definitely. And I mean, I think I can honestly say most of us, when it comes to banking, we're taught you've got your checking and you've got your savings. Yeah. Right? So put some money to the side, put it in your savings, and that's your rainy day and things like that. But nobody really will nobody will educate you on, hey, there's CDs, there's different types of CDs. If you've saved up if you have this amount of money, and if you put this in this CD, let's do the calculations. Your annual percentage, accrued out of it would be this. So that's why it would be a good decision. And if you've got this money and you're not doing anything with it, you don't plan to do anything with it, think about putting it in the CD for a certain amount of time. Let it accrue more money, because usually with the savings, the percentage is what? 0.001%. You know, so it's like you're sitting there with maybe $10,000 or $20,000 in the bank,
Yeah.
and it's not making what's it making $20 for you a year,
Yeah.
a year. You know, so you know you need people to tell you
and
that.
this was stuff that we wasn't privy to, like growing up. Like our parents. Well, I was. Maybe you was.
That's the one thing that I would like to highlight. My grandmother did not make six figures. My grandmother raised me. She did not make six figures. She was a 5-figure earner, right? But the one thing that she told me about was CDs.
Right.
When she taught me about saving, and when she saw that I was saving, I wasn't touching things, she said, let me tell you about a CD. Let's go to the bank and I'll let them explain it to you even better. But you need to put some money in a CD, especially if you don't plan on touching it. And I was like, okay. And I went, and when you met me, I
Shout out to
had
you.
a CD, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, it wasn't as great as the one we have now because I didn't have a business, you know, but CDs can work for you, especially if you're saving money. Put that money that you're saving, put it into a CD. It will definitely grow your money much faster for you than in a savings account.
Yeah, especially a traditional savings account. So you can put the money into a high yield savings account. Now that would be beneficial to you as well.
Yeah.
But we say all this to say that because, like I say, people are making bad decisions, and we've made bad decisions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I fumbled bags, you know, quote unquote. And I had somewhat of an example, but still, there's certain financial principles that even my mom, shout out to her, as great as she's been, there's just certain things financially that she just was not hip to, right? So every generation should be better. They should be learning more. I expect my children to be way more savvy, way more savvy than I am, right? We fully expect that, right? But guys, listen, man, seek counsel, seek mentorship, seek guidance on your path to success. And when you achieve certain levels of success, just take a deep breath and say, who can I call to talk to help me, to help guide me, right? Because ultimately, guys, it's not just about attaining success. It's about maintaining success, duplicating success. You might have 1 year of success. That could be a one-off, right? You need to be able to maintain that and duplicate it and do it again, right? So just guys, just seek guidance, seek mentorship, right? On the regular, be calling your mentor like, hey, I mean, I did this, I did that, and I'm trying to build up, you know, some savings or some investments or whatever that you're trying to do, right? But seek mentorship, guys. That's a big thing, man. It's listen, I'd rather pay the price than pay the cost, right? It's much easier for you to pay the price right now of investing than pay the cost of not doing these things.
Yes.
Because the cost is going to be heavy, right? It's going to be heavy, and it's going to be a cost that not only you're going to pay, your family's going to pay, your children's going to pay, because you achieved a certain level of success and you didn't know how to maintain it. You didn't have the humility. You didn't have the delayed gratification to seek counsel and listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, man.
Yeah.
Listen, man.
Well, wait a minute before
what's
you
up?
end
Okay,
it,
all right,
before
okay,
you end
all right,
it,
well.
Donald is an avid reader, right?
Okay.
And he has some books that even he has told me about that have changed my life and way of thinking. I would love for you to share a couple of titles and authors with it. Those who are interested in this type of stuff, please, this is a game changer.
Okay, so I do read a lot. Guys, Money, Master the Game, Tony Robbins. The Millionaire Next Door, Thomas Stanley. Wealth Warrior, Steve Chandler. You're Broke Because You Want to Be, Larry Winget. The Psychology of Money, Morgan Housel. Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, one of my favorite. Your Next 5 Moves, Pat Bet-David. The Gap in the Game, Dan Sullivan. I really like the gap in the game a lot because a lot of times we're in this gap where we think that we, you know, that we need certain things, but we need to be building off of our gains. So I really like the Gap in the Game by Dan Sullivan. It's a phenomenal book. But either way, guys, these are great books. Guys, read. If you don't want to read, download Audible. Let it read to you. Either way, you just get the information. Guys, listen, man, this is going to conclude the latest episode of Free Game Don D, Life, Family, and Business.